Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Swati Verma Styles. So this video is an addition to the IELTS series that I have created. If you haven't seen my video on the entire IELTS exam, you can just go through it. I will put the link in the description box for tips and tricks on the entire IELTS exam. Now, why I decided to shoot this video is because I wanted to create special detailed tips and tricks for the IELTS listening test. I did get a score of 8.5 on 9 using these tips when I gave my IELTS GT test. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do subscribe to my channel Swati Verma Styles and hit the bell icon so that you get updated with any latest video that I upload. Also, do watch this video till the end to get detailed guidance on the IELTS listening test. Now, how we will go about this video is I will share some basic concepts about the IELTS listening test with you, and then I will give you multiple tips and tricks which will help you score a wonderful band in your IELTS exam. Okay, so now when you talk about the IELTS listening test, first of all you need to know that the IELTS listening module is the same for both the tests, whether it's the IELTS academic test or whether it is the IELTS general training test. Also, one very big news that I want to share with you guys is that earlier there used to be an example that was played in the starting of the video, which is not played now anymore. Now let's discuss the duration and the pattern of the exam. So the IELTS listening test is for 40 minutes. Which is precisely 30 plus 10. Now why I say 30 plus 10 is because 30 minutes is the time that is given to you to hear the recordings and to write your answers on the rough sheet. Whereas the final 10 minutes is given to you to note down the answers from your rough sheet to the final answer sheet. Now let's discuss the pattern of the exam. The exam is divided into 4 recordings. Number first recording is a very normal, very casual recording in a social setup wherein two people are talking on very general level. For example, maybe when someone is calling to book a ticket for the art gallery, so it is very, very general in nature and it is the easiest. So you need to aim to get all your answers right in this one because you can score the maximum in this part. Moving on to the second part of the exam. This is again a social setup, but there is only one speaker here. For example, maybe a tour guide demonstrating the beauty of the city to a group of people, but there will be only one speaker. Now, moving on to the third one. Now, this is an academic setting and this is slightly tough. Why I say tough? Because it is where a group of people are talking. For example, let's say a group of professors are talking or are discussing amongst themselves on deciding the new curriculum. So why I say that it is tough is because you need to identify the voices of the different speakers, then only you will be able to write the answers. Now moving on to the last part of the test, which is the recording 4. Now it is the toughest of the lot. It is also an academic setting, but where only one speaker is talking and it is normally like a lecture. Let's move on to the tips and tricks of the exam to score the maximum score that you can. Tip number 1 is that you need to get used to a lot of different accents. You can just go onto YouTube and listen to various different kind of shows which have American accent, Australian accent, British accent, or your Canadian accent. So you need to get yourself used to a lot of different accents because in the final exam the recordings can be from any kind of accent and there are normally different type of accents in each of the recording. So the tip number 1 is get used to a lot of different accents. Tip number 2 is when you are given the test, the recording says that you will now hear a recording and you have some time to go through question numbers 1 to 7. Now this time what you need to do is you need to skim the questions very, very carefully. And when I say you need to skim the questions, How you need to skim the questions is that you can underline the major words in each of the question. For example, if a question says, what time is he asking her to leave? So that means what time you will underline. Or if the question says, which place is he asking her to meet? So you need to underline the term which place. So what happens when you skim the questions is that you need to keep these things in mind, and when you hear the recording, you know that this is the answer that you are looking for in the recording. Now, next tip is don't dwell much on the recording and do not try to understand each and everything, because that ways you will get lost in the recording and you will lose focus from the questions that are asked, and you will be focusing your energy on understanding the recording. So this is actually a trap which you don't have to fall in. So you just need to move your mind and kind of focus on the kind of questions that are asked, and you need to condition your mind that these are the things that I need to pick from the recording. Now, next tip is that the recording is played only once. Now, why I mention this here is because if you think that you have missed some kind of an answer, then don't just stop there and don't confuse yourself. Just make a guess and move on to the next question. And how will you know that you have missed a question is that only if you skim the questions well, then only you will know that okay, this question has been missed by me, so it's okay, leave that question, move on to the next. Because if you get stuck on that question, your recording will keep on playing and you will miss all the questions. So if you don't understand the answer, just guess it and move on to the next question. So whenever you are hearing the recording and you pick an answer from the recording and you're writing the answer, now once you're writing the answer, just quickly skim the next question, so you know that this is the answer that I need to be looking for in the recording now. Another thing is that the answers can come in any kind of interval. 4 answers can come together, and then there can be a long gap, and then 2 answers can come together again. So these are all the traps. So the best you can do is keeping in mind the questions and looking for the particular answers. Also, once you're hearing the recording, you can keep on making very small bullet points or notes, so that even if you miss some kind of question, you can always refer to those notes, kind of answer the question. One very most important tip is write the words that you hear in the recording. Don't reformulate the words, don't use the synonyms, because it is very clearly written in the question that please answer the following questions using words from the recording. So you need to write exactly the same words. Now let's move on to some common mistakes that we do and how we can avoid them. So the tip here is that you need to write your answers very clearly, because a lot of times people do get their answers right, but they write it in such a bad handwriting that the examiner can't understand it and they are marked a 0 on that. Another very important tip is use proper spellings. Doesn't matter if you are writing the right answer, if there is a spelling error, your answer is wrong. So you need to work on your spellings as well. Now another thing is that you need to look for the singular or plural form from the recording. For example, let's say if the answer is frog and you write frogs, so because of the mismatch of a singular and a plural word, your answer will be wrong. So you need to pay a lot of attention on whether it is a singular word or it is a plural word. Now you need to also make sure that you follow a pattern when you are giving your answers. Either you write everything in capital letters or you write everything in small letters. If you are writing everything in small letters, you need to make sure that when certain words comes, for example, where you need to write Miss Swati, so then again the M and S needs to be capital. You can look here for your reference. Whereas in the capital it remains the same. So whichever format you try to use, you need to follow that for all your answers. And the best way to do it is that whenever you are sitting at home and doing your practice tests, so whatever format you're using, whether small letters or capital letters, you need to use it in the entire exam. In the entire listening test, you need to use the same kind of format. Now, another tip is, whenever you are giving the practice test at home, please do not take it in a ziffy that okay, now you're doing one recording, then after 2 hours you're listening to the another recording. No, make yourself accustomed to the pattern of the exam. This is the most important tip, that you need to be used to the pattern of the exam. Your English might be good, 100 people might be good in English, but if 10 out of them have practiced in a setting which is similar to the actual exam, they will be getting better scores, because they know what the pattern is and they're accustomed to it. They know that they have to manage their answers in this kind of time limit, and they know that they have to write their answers in this kind of time limit. So whenever you are practicing, even at home, take a rough sheet and use those extra 10 minutes to write your final answers from your rough sheet to the final answer sheet. Now I'm going to discuss the most important tip, which is you need to pay like 2000% attention to the question, to the heading of the question. What is it saying? So when I say that, it means answer the following questions in no more than 2 words and or a number. What can be the possible answers to this is, for example, there can be 1 word, or there can be maximum 2 words with a number or without a number, but there cannot be 2 numbers. Or so you have to understand this kind of word and number limit that is given to you. So I am linking certain examples here. For example, when it says no more than 2 words and or a number, so the answer can be watchman, vigilant watchman, 5 vigilant watchmen, or 5. Now I need to discuss with you certain traps of the exam which are always there in every listening test. So the very common trap is that the answers are changed, and how they are changed is, for example, if the recording says, which place do you want me to meet? And the person says, okay, let's meet at Victoria, and you write Victoria. The next second the recording says, oh, you know what, not Victoria because the roads are closed, let's meet at Washington. So in this case, the correct answer is Washington. So what you need to do is that you do not need to be so busy in writing the answers once you hear it that you forget that the answer has already changed. So this is the most common trap that they use, and around 50% of the exam takers fall into this trap. So now that you're listening to this tip, please make a note of it and do not fall into this trap. Next trap is that when a lot of similar words are used, like the same word is given in the questions and the same word is used in the recording, chances are that it is a trap, because normally paraphrasing is used. So whenever you hear a lot of similar words, be very attentive, because that might be a trap to distract you. Now the type of questions that are given in listening test, I'm linking them here on the screen. So it can be multiple choice questions, sentence completions, flow charts, table completions, map completions, diagram labeling, summary completion, short answer questions. So you need to practice all these and you need to get yourself accustomed to the pattern of the exam again. And the last and most important tip is, please check your headphones before the test starts. The examiners at all the exam halls will definitely make you check your headphones. Even if you have the slightest of doubt, please report it, because once the recording starts, nothing can be done and you might just lose all your marks. So because we don't want to do that and we want to score the maximum in listening test, so just make sure that your headphones are working properly. Report any kind of technical issues to the examiner beforehand, before the test starts. So guys, this was about the tips and tricks of the IELTS listening test. I'm sure if you take care of these tips and tricks during your exam and during your practice sessions, you definitely aim to get a very nice score in the IELTS listening test like I did. I got 8.5. So just take care of these tips and tricks. Don't fall into the traps that I just discussed in the video. So if you have any kind of questions, do post your questions in the comment section, or you can also follow me on Instagram and shoot your questions there. And if you want a full video on the entire IELTS exam, I'm putting a link of my video in the description box. Do check it out and do subscribe to my channel Swati Verma Styles, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you get all the latest updates. Also guys, please believe in yourself. Understand that nothing is unachievable. Just prepare yourself well. Use these tips and tricks so that you don't fall in the traps of the exam. And just believe in yourself. Prepare well. Give time to your preparation, and trust me, you can actually achieve 100% score in listening test. Best wishes to you, and take care, and we'll meet in the next video now.